Let's start with this one sentence because it really says it all. Sociologists with over 10 years of experience transforming complex data into strategic decisions. That's not just a line you put on a resume, it's a whole professional identity. It tells you this is someone who doesn't just look at information, but actually uses it to make things happen. It perfectly sets the stage for what we're about to explore. So today, we're going to dig into the professional journey of David Ávalos Ahumada. We're going to see how a sociologist ends up becoming this real innovator in the world of education, all by mixing social science with some pretty cool technology. It's a great story about how careers evolve and how you can make a serious impact. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at who he is right now, this blend of sociology and AI. Then we'll hit rewind and trace the decade-long path that got him here. After that, we're going to zoom right in on his day-to-day job, check out the digital tools he uses, and then wrap up by looking at his vision for where education is headed.
Okay, let's kick things off with who he is today, the sociologist and AI. We're going to explore what that modern professional identity really looks like when you're standing at the intersection of these two, honestly, massive fields.
So what does a modern sociologist even do? Well, looking at David's work, it's all about this combination. It's not just about studying society from a distance anymore. No, it's about getting your hands dirty with data analysis and, now, artificial intelligence to actually make things better. In his case, the educational system. It's a much more active, problem-solving kind of role.
But you don't just wake up one day with this kind of skill set, right? So how did he get here? To really get it, we need to look back at his journey over the last decade and see all the building blocks that created this unique foundation of expertise.
Every story has a beginning. For this one, we're jumping back to 2013. Here's David presenting at the ALAS Congress in Santiago. This was a really important early milestone that kind of set him on this academic and professional path.
And this timeline, man, it really paints a picture, doesn't it? He starts with on-the-ground survey work in 2009. Then he levels up to statistical support. Then he becomes a quantitative analyst for an NGO in Ecuador that's focused on education. You can see the thread, right? A constant focus on data, on research, and with each step, the roles get more complex, spanning different countries, all leading straight to the work he's doing today.
This brings us almost to the present day, 2022, right before he stepped into his current role. Here he is, working as a consultant for Flaxo Chile on a big project for the Pan American Health Organization. I mean, that's some high-level stuff, and it was the perfect springboard for what came next.
Which, of course, brings us to his current job. So let's do a deep dive. What does being an academic tutor actually look like for him, day in and day out? This is where all that experience really gets put to the test. For the last 3.5 years, this has been his world. He's been totally focused on the academic monitoring of students at the technical and professional levels. He's been living and breathing their progress, spotting their challenges, and giving them the support they need to succeed. So his job really boils down to these 4 key areas. It all starts with tracking how students are doing. Then, he gives them direct help through online tutoring. A massive part of his job is grading their work, but more importantly, giving them really good, constructive feedback. And finally, he's also helping keep the course materials themselves fresh and up to date. It's a complete cycle that touches every part of the learning journey. And here's where things get really, really cool. He's not just a tutor, he's a creator. He's using technology to make the whole learning experience better. He's building multimedia study materials, and get this, he even makes videos with AI avatars to break down complex topics. Just think about that for a second. Using AI to teach tough concepts, making education way more accessible and, let's be honest, probably a lot more interesting for students. So to do all of that, you've got to have the right tools, right? So let's pop open his digital toolbox and see what technology is actually powering all of this work. Now, this isn't just a random list of software. This is the whole integrated ecosystem of a modern educator. He's using Canvas to keep an eye on student performance, Zendesk to handle all their questions, and of course, the classics like Zoom and Teams to communicate. But what really stands out to me is his use of Office Online to check for plagiarism and even detect GPT-written text, plus using virtual assistants to interpret information faster. He's fluent in the language of a 21st century digital campus. And look, these aren't just skills he picked up on the fly. He's got the formal training to back it all up. You can see it right here in his certifications, one in Power BI for deep data analysis, and another in the Blackboard learning platform. It's that 1-2 punch of data smarts and ed tech expertise that makes what he does so powerful.
So now let's pull all these threads together. What does this unique mix of skills actually mean for the future of education? Where is all this heading? This is the key takeaway right here. David's whole professional identity is this powerful fusion. He's got the sociologist's deep understanding of why people act and learn the way they do. He's got the data analyst's skill to measure it all with razor-sharp precision, and he's got the technologist's toolkit to build new and better ways to teach. And that leaves us with one big thought-provoking question to chew on. We're seeing pioneers like David bring AI into the classroom, but the real challenge, and maybe the biggest opportunity, is this. How do we make sure that this incredible technology isn't just driven by code, but by a deep human understanding of society? That's the future he's helping to build.